He fell asleep in New Jersey before the bombs hit the ground. Broadcasting from a bomb shelter, he is the nuclear clown.
My name is Brockflar, Dwarven commander of the armies of Hammerfast, general of the Felix Legions, loyal servant of the true Emperor Grim Greybeard, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
One of the first reviews I ever did on this channel was for Dungeons & Dragons 4th Edition. You may be able to tell from the rampant dorkdom that I spout on this channel that I like games like this. But Dungeons & Dragons 4th Edition was kind of like my general assessment of D&D as a whole through these past few editions. But I tried something a little bit different because I was sort of inspired by this movie on the Netflix instant queue. It's called Gamers, and it's not a bad movie. It's pretty good, but it really kind of took me back, I guess you could say, and gave me some real fond memories of D&D. So I decided to give 4th edition a real good solid try, and I took up my helm of girl repellent, my axe of unemployment, and I went into the dungeon in search of drugs. And now I'm back, and with more of an in-depth review now that I've really gotten to the heart of 4th edition, and hopefully this will be a bit more in-depth than my last review, which was more like kind of an overview of my whole D&D experience, I guess you could say. How much into it was I? Yeah, that's a lot of shit. And that's really my problem with D&D 4th edition, or one of my problems. Actually, let me hit the good parts first. Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition fixes a lot of stuff that I've always had problems with D&D. So I really never liked that in D&D, especially if you were playing like a wizard or something like that, you could get killed by a thrown rock by a child with a mental disability. That's not very heroic, and I talked about it at length in my other review. Where 4th edition really gives the player some power, and I do like that. You can really stand up to far more threats than you could in previous editions. Very good. They also included things called minions, which are guys with one hit point. You hit them once and they go away. So that way you can make battles a bit more cinematic, where one character is fighting off multiple bad guys at once. I am all for that change. All well and good. Very nice. My problem is that kind of we had to wait so long to get to this point. I don't think it's really taking into account that young kids play this game and they don't have the kind of despicable disposable income, or just complete irresponsibility in my case, to go buy shit like... So I thought it was kind of underhanded for them to be putting out so many books, but whatever. Role-playing games have lots of books. That's just the nature of the beast. They're there to make money. But so I like that your first level character, your lower level characters are tougher. The at-will powers and all the way they did the powers, where if you're a wizard, you don't have to swing a staff. You can just use your powers, use your magic missile as an at-will ability. I love that. I think that's great. But there's a lot of bad that came with all that good. I don't like the just obvious tribute to Warcraft. So much of the art and actually a lot of the game is just such a blatant ripoff of Warcraft. And Wizards of the Coast, you're not gonna get people to stop playing Warcraft to play D&D, because guess what? If someone plays Warcraft, chances are they've at least dabbled in Dungeons & Dragons, and they like Warcraft better because it's less fucking work and you don't have to buy 17 source books to play it. So I don't think they're going to really get any converts with that tactic. And also a huge complaint, I have a lot of books for 4th edition, and I haven't found a Necromancer class in any of them. It seems pretty obvious to do a necromancer class. I mean, it was a specialization in 2nd edition, and they just decided, I guess, not to do it. And they even have the Book of the Undead. No necromancer class in there. Interesting. Now, you could say, well, Dave, a necromancer would be an evil class, and players are not supposed to be evil, but they have warlocks as a playable class, and they talk and speak and do deals with demons. So I don't really buy that argument all that much about that. I don't like that they raised the level cap to 30. I believe it's to be more like Warcraft, because when you buy a new Warcraft expansion, what's the first thing they do? Raise the level cap and make you feel like that's important. How? I don't know. They could have done tiers just as easily with 20 levels. I see no reason to add 10 levels now all of a sudden. But they did, so what are you going to do? I think that if I could review D&D 4th edition, it's like somebody made a very good game in one book, and then they blew it up with a bomb, and the parts flew all over the world. And then someone collected those parts and sold them to you as separate books. In all this, there's a really good game. But then again, you have to get all this to really experience that, and that sucks. I would have just loved if they did a kick-ass core 3 books, and you know, this left the source books as flavor, you know, kind of like how they should be. Also, the thing with 4th edition books, and this is across the board, no matter what you're looking at, the text is really big, the backgrounds are really white and very plain, and the books are really kind of ridiculously thin. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like we got so much more in the other expansions. Now, I'm not one of those people who automatically shits on a new edition when it comes out. You know, people who, when 3rd edition came out, they wouldn't even look at it. Oh, 2nd edition is king. I'm not like that. I love when a new edition comes out. And 4th edition, it just seems like, you know, and with D&D, you're buying the same books over and over again. But this time, you're buying the same books, but not as much as you did before. And in the 3rd edition books, I found that the background of the pages, like the pages had this kind of worn background, when the art was really, it just drew you into the game, I felt. And D&D 4th edition is a whole lot of blank space, a whole lot of white, and a whole lot of little charts, and a whole lot of big letters. So yeah, presentation-wise, it seems a little bit, I guess, uninspired. You could say. I like skills. What they did with the skills, how it's half your level. If you're trained in a skill, you get a flat +5 bonus. Sweet. I like that. I like hit points. I love healing surges. All that stuff is good. I love the defenses. I like how they did that. But one thing I certainly don't understand is, where did a lot of the skills go? I mean, there's no craft skill. There's no performance skill, which is ridiculous. If you're a bard and you don't have performance as a skill, and you're even using instruments as your implement, yet there's no perform skill. So I don't know what they were thinking with that. I guess it was you know, they just wanted skills where you could actually use them in game and with their miniatures and stuff like that. All the skills you kind of use during certain situations, and I guess they considered craft and performance as more kind of fluff. But yeah, and you could always just say, well, just make them up yourself, just throw them in there, it's easy to do. But I'm just really curious as to why they just didn't include those. That was kind of funny to me. I mean, I honestly don't know how to break it to you bards, but you can't play your musical instruments. Take 5, my friend. Take motherfucking 5. Another really just this pisses me off with Dungeons and Dragons, and it's not exclusive to 4th edition. They've done this before. The monster manuals. They're gonna come out with a 3rd monster manual, which everyone, you know, I expected it because they've always had 3 monster manuals, and then whatever the fuck, Fiend Folio and all that other stuff. So I knew they were gonna come out with 3. And I have 2, and they devote about 6 pages to humans. Humans aren't monsters. There's no crying in baseball. A monster manual should have, I don't know, fucking monsters in it. I think the way they should have done the monster manual, they're going to do 3 monster manuals. They're 3 tiers. Monster Manual 1, Heroic tier monsters. Monster Manual 2, Paragon tier monsters. And Monster Manual 3, Epic tier monsters. At the end of the day, Dungeons & Dragons has this primordial lore, if you're a dork like me, where even when they abuse you and take your trust and sleep with your best friend, and then you catch them and they're like, no, it wasn't what, we looked like. You're emotionally vacant. But you forgive them anyway, and you take them back, because it's just, I don't know, it's so closely tied, and I guess that's why, even though there's so much about this I don't like, I continue to buy these books and play this game. So yeah, take that for what you want, and go out there and get me some food. Quest for the new KFC Double Down sandwich. Yum.